And we're looking at an introduction to limits. Consider the function f of x is equals to 3x plus 1. You remember how to use a function, right? Right?
No, sir.
Okay, then.
Mm-mm.
If you have a function right here, and I tell you what is f of 2, what that means is I want you to plug in 2 for x and work the function out. So that's going to be 3 times 2 plus 1. 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 plus 1 is 7. And what that allows us to do is to create a table of values, like some more. And it tells us when I plug in 2 for x, my corresponding value for y is going to be 7. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I want you to do the same for these remaining numbers. -2, -1, 0, 1. I want you to plug all 4 of those in and tell me what the corresponding y values are. When you have them, send me a private message with the 4 numbers. Okay?
How you do a private message?
How you do a private message? When you click on the chat button, click on the blue part and then click on to me only. It says send me everybody. What's my name? I forgot my name. My name doesn't show up. I should be near the top. Okay? But it says the 2 field in the message. Go ahead, work this 4 out. You can certainly use the calculator if you want to. In fact, I do suggest you go get one if you don't have one now. You are going to need it.
Sure.
So far, so good. Everyone has been right so far. Come on, people. You can't do like a regular class and pretend to do work and then just wait until the professor moves on because, you know, everybody doesn't have the answer. And then you got to see your paper. Today. By the way, I don't know and I'm not sure our legal answers.
Yes.
I'm not sure how to work it out. That's fine. My job is to teach you, not assume you already know. Still waiting on the few stragglers. Everyone's done. Who's leaving my meeting without letting me know that they're leaving? Oh, look, they're back. Ryan, you can just put in the numbers and for comma, you gotta write the whole thing out. Is that everybody? Am I waiting on anybody?
I'm not done entering my answers, but I'm entering them all now.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
We privately send the answers to you.
That is correct. Anybody else I'm waiting on? Woo. All right, I think that's just about everybody. It looks like we all have the right answers. Plug in -2, you get an answer of -5. Plug in -1, you get an answer of -2. Plug in 1, and then you get a plug in 0, you get an answer of 1, and plug in 1, you get an answer of plug in 2, you get an answer of 7. Yes? If I was to graph this out on some beautiful axes, see how beautiful my axes are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -2, -5, -1, Y'all remember how to do this, right? That's a rhetorical question. Don't answer. So at -2, -5, that point right here is my first point. Then -1, -2, then 0, 1, then 1, 4, and then 2, 7. And if you connect those with a smooth line, you get the graph of the function. F of x is equals to 3x plus 1. Any questions there? Comments?
No question.
Cool. So the reason why I bring this up right here is because it is the heart of what we are discovering today of something called a limit. What is a limit? I'm actually going to describe this in a weird way. I'm actually just going to find a limit for you. And then after I find the limit, I'm going to kind of describe what I'm doing right here. So I'm going to use exactly the same function to make my life and your life easier. 3x plus 1. I'm going to be making a table of values. And I'm going to be plugging in numbers in. First thing I'm going to do is plug in 1. When you plug in 1, the answer is 4. The next number I'm going to plug in is 1.5. I plug 1.5 into this function, the answer I'm going to get is 5.5. Then I'm going to plug in 1.9. So plug in 1.9, I get an answer of 6.7. Then I'm going to plug in 1.99. When I do that, I get an answer of 6.97. By plugging 1.99, this time 3 nines, I get 6.997. Then I'm going to plug in 1.9999. And this is going to give me, if I plug that into the function, I'm going to get an answer of 6.9997. Question. This process that I'm doing right here, can I keep going? Can I keep adding nines?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is yes. Right? Yes? Okay. The answer is yes. So my question is, why should I stop? I can do one more. 1.92345. And that gave me an answer of 6.12497. Well, if you think about this for a second, right? Limit kind of gives us the idea of the concept of reaching the end of a process. Yes? When I say the limit, what's the fastest you can go? What's the limit you can reach? What's the limit of your understanding? That's the idea of, if I keep pushing myself, if I keep pushing this process right here, where will I finally end up? Okay? And so to discover this limit, mathematicians recognize that this is not enough. I actually have to do the same process, but in reverse. If I plug in 3 into this function, 3 times 3 is 9, 9 plus 1 is 10, right? Gives me an answer of 10. If I plug in 2.5 into this function, that gives me an answer of 8.5. If I plug in 2.1 into this function, give me an answer of 7.3. If I plug in 2.01 into this function, gives me an answer of 7.03. And then 2.001 gives me an answer of 7.00. See why you need a calculator? Imagine how I did this. No, I did not sit down and work all this by hand. 2.0001, that gives me an answer of 7.0003. 2.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.0001. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, right. Again, can you see that this process, I can keep going wherever and ever I can get the next number in line if I follow the pattern? The next number in line will be 2.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Yes? And I plug that into my handy dandy calculator. The answer I get is 7.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. So again, I come back. The idea of a limit. The idea of a limit is, what's the end of this process? If I kept doing this forever and ever and ever, what am I going to find at the end of that rainbow? And I put it to you, there is exactly one number that will satisfy this process, and that will be the limit of this process. Can anybody guess what that number is?
Two.
Nah, I guess I should have said it. I'm looking at the Y's on this side right, the Y side.
7.
If I look at this process right here, there's only one number that will fit exactly between these 2 points right here, and that number is 7. There is no other number that I can write where these two will not go past. Yes? We call that number 7 the limit of this process. The limit. Is 7. That is not the number 7. Oh my goodness. My bad. 7. There we go. That's what I was trying to do right there. There are 2 things I need to answer for this. First and foremost, what did I do? How did I get all of these numbers? Right? And the second thing is, why do we care? Right? So what? You can plug in all these fancy numbers and get an answer. Does that really have any effect on us living people? Is this actually real stuff, or is it just imagined stuff? Someone just made this up because they had nothing else to do, and y'all needed a class to take, so let's just make them do this. No? Oh, anyone still writing? I'll take that as a no. No one's still writing. So, question: what did I do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. What I did was I picked a value for x. In this case, I chose x equals 2. And then I went to a number line. Do you remember number line back in the day? When math was fun and easy? No?
Yes.
Somewhere on this number line, there's the number 2. Somewhere on this number line, there is the value 2. And along with that value 2, there's the value 1, and then there's the value 3. And what I did was I started on the left side first, started at 1, and then I started to approach. I started to walk to the value 2. Well, if I'm at 1 and I'm approaching 2, well, I'll kind of hit 1.5 somewhere along the way, correct? If I'm approaching 2, I kind of hit 1.5. And you see right here, I have that number right here, 1.5. Yes? If I keep getting closer to 2, at some point, I will hit number 1.9. Yes? And if I keep getting closer, I will then hit the number 1.99. If I keep getting closer, I will then hit the number 1.999 and so forth and so on, correct? So what I did was I picked a number of interest, x equals 2. And then I went to the left of that number, and then I kept getting closer and closer to that number. In mathematics, we say I kept approaching that number in an orderly fashion. Make sense?
Can you repeat that, please?
Which part of that?
Like the last 15 seconds or 20?
In mathematics, we use the term approach to say that I'm getting closer to that number in an orderly fashion. 1.9, 1.99, 1.999, right? Every single time, I'm getting closer to the value of 2. And then I went and I did the same process, but I did it on the right. Started at 3. And then I went 2.5. Then I went 2.1, 2.01, 2.001. Every single time, I'm getting closer to the value 2. I am approaching the value 2. And what I was then looking at is then I was considering the y values. And when looking at those y values, I saw that the number 7 was the one number that both sides agreed on, was one number that as I got closer to 2, the y values got closer to 7. And because of that pattern that I saw, I write this. We say for the function f of x is equals to 3x plus 1 as we approach x equals 2 for the function f of x, the limit is 7. Question there in that last sentence.
So the x could never be the limit?
No. Someone's calling me, but I'm in class. So no, x cannot be the limit. A shorthand for this long statement right here is as x, oh, I'm writing the word as. Someone's calling me. We say as x approaches 2, y approaches 7. As mathematicians, we have a knack for making these things as short as possible. Questions there?
Is this how you expect us to write it out on the test?
Actually, there's a third way to write it out.
Oh.
This is how we write it in journal. We say the limit of the function f of x as x approaches 2 is 7. This is the way that it's normally written out. the limit process. As I go through this entire process of taking numbers that are closer and closer to 2 for this specific function, the answer I get closer and closer to is 7.
And this is how you want it on the test, the bottom one.
Yes, sir. Although all 3 of them are equivalent, if you write it in English, I will not give it to you wrong. But you'll get comfortable with that notation, so it won't be much of an issue for you. All right, we will stop here for now. I'll answer the second question on Tuesday. I won't be able to finish, so we'll just stop here for now. With that, anyone did not write their name in for attendance?